What's up, my support fibro friends? Hello, hello. I wanted to do this very special broadcast live to kind of go over managing fibromyalgia with my own anxiety when it comes to flying. I don't normally do some experience videos, but I thought I would do this one just to share, not only to kind of show people that you are not alone, but also get some tips from all of you because sharing my own struggle with this and managing my anxiety on flying, I'm hoping some of you have some tips for me as well. So I hope everyone is having a great day. Give a emoji, say hello, let us know where you're tuning in from. I would love to hear from you. Hopefully, sound is good. I also want to do some just check ins with people really quick before I get into this. So, shout out to Carrie out there. I hope you're doing okay. That is very intense from a California resident that has managed earthquakes for a while. There's a lot of activity going on. So I hope you're doing okay. Sending you lots of loves and hugs as you go through this. And I also wanted to shout out to Lupus Spoons. I got my dates all mixed up for when you were having your walk. I am so sorry. So, for some reason, I kept checking social media yesterday, but it looks like the walk is happening today. So, please go rally around Lupus Spoons and all the amazing work that she is doing for lupus, fibromyalgia, and chronic illness communities. Today is her walk over there. So shout out to all the great work you're doing. I look forward to doing more advocacy work with you shortly. So we'll definitely share some of the activity that is going on. I'm super excited for you. Then on our side, we're very excited to be working diligently on the fibromyalgia conference. So for right now, it's fibromyalgiaconference.com. If you go there, there is just an image and more information to register very soon. That is all coming up shortly. I'm excited for what's to come. It is stressful. We are looking for a couple providers, although the schedule is getting pretty tight because we are collaborating between healthcare providers, community leaders, so patient advocates as well, and then researchers in 2 days. So it's an ambitious move to create this all virtual immersive space for the fibromyalgia community, but we're going to do it. We're working hard here at Support Fibro with Looms for Lupus and some of our other advocates to make this happen. So I'm super excited for that. And again, if you guys have some topics that you want to hear or interviews, it doesn't have to necessarily be at the conference. Please let us know on topics that you would love to see discussed. I know some people have been posting on some providers that they would like to hear from. So we have reached out to a lot of people to join us for the conference. I know it's unique experience to have people discuss fibromyalgia. And we're still looking for a few more for the conference on particular topics, and to get a diversity of voices involved with the conference because that's going to be huge. And this will be all hosted through Hopin. So it's all virtual experience. People will be able to visit exhibitor booths. They'll be able to go into sessions and interact with people. And you can even interact at the booth live along with a main stage as well. So I look forward to having that registration link for all of you soon. But I did want to, as we started out, you can see is the main topic for today is, of course, managing fibromyalgia and then my anxiety flying. Again, I don't normally do too many experience videos, but I thought it would be important again to share because again, I need the tips. This is something that has been going on for a long time, and I've been challenged by it. And then also for anybody out there who feels the anxiety for all of this, please definitely know you're not alone in this. It is definitely something that's been a challenge for me to overcome. I don't know if I was ever that I don't know how much anxiety I really remember as a kid since my fibromyalgia developed as a teenager. And I know after that, I saw major spikes in anxiety. And especially when it comes to stressful situations, I seem to go from 0 to like 100% and beyond very quickly. And I've tried all kinds of techniques and stuff to help me. And it just seems like nothing completely balances that exertion. Like, it just goes super fast. Like, an amplification of anxiety has been something that I've been trying to manage for a really long time since getting this process of like chronic pain and fibromyalgia. Although I am learning, which I'm finding a lot of relief for in my Karazian Institute classes when he does clinical case studies, that head injuries really contribute to this because of how it impacts the gut and the nervous system together. So even like motion sickness and just the debilitating part that I have with my gut that I've been trying to maneuver through. And I really notice if my gut gets thrown off, then that contributes to this really huge surge in anxiety all of a sudden, which makes traveling really unpredictable for me and what's ahead too. So I kind of was relishing staying at home, but this year I have a few trips planned at the end of the year. Now, I'm not interested in getting sick, so that is something that has been on my mind with this new element being in a pandemic. But my anxiety was happening way before then, and in even my 20s, I struggle with panic attacks, and I just don't respond well to medications, even cutting them, titrating them at really small dosages. I was given a very small dosage of certain ones just to see if it could manage some of those panic attacks and anxiety surges, and it just messes me up really bad. The lasting side effects get really severe. I mean, if there was a way at least to calm the system, I would be open to it. I've even tried natural forms of like supplements and all the things they recommend to calm the nervous system, psychotherapy too, CBT, biofeedback, neurofeedback. I have tried it all, meditation, tapping exercises, but there's certain instances that I don't have a lot of control with, and it's surprising how much it can accelerate my anxiety that I haven't really gotten to the root cause of controlling it, which is definitely something I think about a lot. I've been investigating more to see if there's other ways, and flying is one instance where I feel completely out of control of other circumstances. And I do my best, and there are days and trips that have felt better to me, and I dissect it. But really, the unpredictability of being around a lot of people and then instances like smells, which I'll get into shortly, has been quite an unpredictable ride of trying to get to places. That's why a lot of people will see me drive a lot for some reason, driving through and doing trips, like even long road trips. Totally. I am your girl. Eat flying though. Woo. And Estella in November, there's a trip planned, and luckily Estella has agreed to babysit me. But after this video, she may change her mind. But going through all of this is like it's already started to ruminate. So I have a trip planned in October to Pennsylvania, and I'm already nervous about it. One, my ticket is getting booked for me. So that adds a whole element of anxiety. And then also just the process of getting to the airport. I do not like to be late because I have no interest in running anywhere. I like to be as prepared as possible, give enough time into getting to the wherever I need to go. Because, sometimes with all this chaos, I tend to get a lot more brain fog. And then just being vigilant all the time, I can get confused a lot easier. I noticed when it's in these airport settings. And then, of course, like, no way do I want to be running to catching anything because I'll probably pass out with such a sudden surge of exertion. And then, two, if it's a situation where I need to be eating, I tend to have to plan this very carefully. Now, you'll see how my stomach makes a difference through all of this and how it creates even more anxiety for me. And then anxiety contributes to my stomach issues. But if I am going to sit down and eat somewhere at the airport, even if I bring my food, I tend to travel with at least avocados to sustain myself. But any form of eating or drinking, like I have to give myself a buffer to have enough room to feel comfortable before I get on a plane. So that takes a lot of timing involved, and getting to the airport early is generally what I naturally have to do. So that way I just feel like I can calm down. I do a lot of breathing exercises and visualization stuff before I even jump on a plane. Then the process of going on the plane. So I do pre-board and I do ask for help. I've had certain systems though. They're really rough sometimes with you when you're in a wheelchair, and maybe I'm just very sensitive because all this movement and just hitting and knocking, it just feels like I feel like I'm in a ping pong. Like I'm just in this machine that just gets tossed around, which doesn't help either with pain levels. It's just this high anxiety level of intense vigilance that I just can't seem to slow down. I'm doing my best with meditations and visualizations, breathing. I do even do like qigong on the plane, but this process of pre-boarding has helped a little bit. So it gets me out of this line of being pushed because it takes a little bit longer for me to lift my bag above my head. I've had a hard time asking for help because it's usually not available and you need some help, especially when I'm traveling by myself. So lifting my bag to put it in the compartment up above is a task in itself. So sometimes I've had to just kind of stand on the chair really quick and just put it up there. But that takes effort sometimes. And when you're not feeling well, it's an extra exertion. So that's the whole process for it. Then once I get seated, I get really affected by smells, which is something that is throwing me off. I've been wearing a mask even before then to try to mitigate the smell of fuel. Now, if I'm on a very stinky plane, I get I don't know, I just get a really bad reaction. Like my stomach starts to curl. I just feel really nauseous in my stomach, and it's difficult to calm down, and that's when I see this extra surge of anxiety come up. I don't know if it's just the correlation between the gut issues and what happens, but that smell. And I'll give you an funny, not funny story, but again, for an award that I was flying to Las Vegas, it was really, really nice. I always appreciate these awards, but it does sometimes come with more anxiety with traveling. But I was flying out of Burbank to Las Vegas, and the awards, the people that purchased my ticket put me on that flight, the JSX, which is one of those planes, like smaller jets. You don't have to go check into the regular airport. You're in a hangar. They make it nice with the red carpet. It seems all fancy, like you're a celebrity. You get to take pictures, which that part was really cool when I first got there. They have a lounge with snacks. You enjoy it. And there are other people doing the same in front of a red carpet. You get to tag because these are smaller jets. So you really do feel like a celebrity. So I was waiting for my flight. The other flight pulls in. That smell of jet fuel. Oh my goodness, it was so overwhelming. I felt so queasy that I ended up running to the closest trash can out there, which happened to be next to the red carpet, and totally puked. I threw up, and it was funny, but I had looked at the hashtags for the company, and there were a group of girls that were taking pictures at the red carpet, and you could tell they had to crop me out because I totally photobombed their photo as I was throwing up. So you can kind of see my butt in the picture. But that was my reality. And then I had to go use the restroom. Like I was miserable after that. And I get rashes too with the reaction because that was heavy duty jet fuel smell. Then on that plane too, it's a smaller plane. So you feel all the movement. Man, was that motion sickness there totally there. So by the time I get to Las Vegas, I'm just done. I can't handle anymore. But that's all of this traveling. I mean, I was just sweating I was rashy, I had a whole rash on my face. I just did not feel good. And this was just a trip from Burbank to Las Vegas, a really short trip. But this is why predictability and managing a chronic illness is just all out there. Like I can't say that I have full control. And people recently have asked me as well, it doesn't seem like you have fibromyalgia. I was like, okay, well, I may have been able to manage and decrease my pain levels, but I'd never say that I have I've been cured. I never even say that I've in remission because of these instances that'll come out of left field and I don't have control over it. This is the hard part and it amplifies my anxiety. So I'm sure you can sense my anxiety already with these attempts to fly. And in October, I have to get on a plane at like 6 a.m., which is even worse because my body is like, "What are you doing to me? Do you sleep? Do you even bother going to sleep? Like, how do you even sleep because of all of this cycle and then getting to the airport early? What time am I supposed to get to the airport early?" So it's all of this. That's why if anyone out there has tips, I will take whatever I can get. I've been doing like qigong on the plane, stretches, anything that I can. I've tried supplements beforehand. I've tried to avoid eating on the plane so my stomach doesn't bloat up. I take Pepto-Bismol, like the chewables, before I even have to fly anywhere to try to mitigate anything that might happen with my stomach because my stomach has actually been a very debilitating part of this condition, even more so potentially than chronic pain because I could kind of hide my chronic pain and I felt like I could manage it better. But having a stomach that's so unpredictable and potentially being on the edge of having an autoimmune condition related to that with like IBD, and I can't get anything treatment for it until you have like a full-blown diagnosis has been very uneasy. And again, watching what I eat on the planes is important, how I drink, because it just seems like not only my stomach, but my bladder gets aggravated at the same time. I just like, what? And is it part of this stress connection? And then it just goes in this cycle over and over again. So I'm hoping that I'll have some better experiences moving forward. And like as Stella has kindly agreed to babysit, I mean, maybe in the future with traveling with some of all of you, maybe we take a chronic illness plane to Washington, D.C. for fibromyalgia advocacy. Maybe I feel better being amongst people that know what I'm going through, but it's definitely hard. I tend to avoid flying with other people as much as possible because of how bad it is. Like making sure I get an aisle seat, I'm just filled with a dread as I take these flights. And the traveling and going by car seems a lot easier for me as far as movement goes. Because if I'm driving, I don't get the motion sickness. But anything with the plane, my motion sickness can get, I feel queasy all of a sudden if there's a lot of movement going on. So and it's really I don't have any secrets. Normally I have a lot of tips, but it's like trial and error and this unpredictability for what I should do. I've watched even Dr. Terry Walls. She'll eat some cabbage, like raw cabbage to help with detoxification, which I don't dare do because I don't want my stomach to get overly gassy on the flight. But I have tried different supplements that seem to work afterwards with any detoxification. But if it's a stinky flight, I am in trouble with the jet fuels. That's why sometimes I try to avoid if I can, if there is a stop that I'm not in the plane, because that's where I was kind of sensing I really got a heavy dose of the jet fuel when it's landed or embarking. So but then you don't want to be long layovers. So it's definitely a lot of learning process. I learned the hard way not to do short layovers because I tend to be running and I just can't. Don't ask me to be running through an airport to try to catch a flight with my luggage and carry-ons. That is just some of the worst experiences ever. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to just kind of throw out there and have conversations with all of you. I see people chiming into, oh, noise canceling headphones have helped quite a bit. So I did make an investment in that with earplugs, anything to drown out any noise. I can't sleep on airplanes. Some people can knock out, which is amazing. So I'm looking for all kinds of tools. I got a flight stand for my phone. It's like this flip stand that I saw in one of these videos so I can put my phone so I'm not looking down like that. The pillows for my neck, anything and everything to make me feel comfortable. I guess that's what I have to do in these seats. I do try to see if I can use points to get a little bit more leg room. Again, pre-boarding has helped me quite a bit, so I can take a little bit more time. I wish that they would give us a little bit more time for the pre-boarding people and people with any sort of disabilities to get their luggage up on the top and be able to sit properly, get kind of settled before they allow people to come rushing back in. It is quite a task. I've had people like shove me before. So I would like a little bit more time to be able to slowly or at least ask for help, like ask someone to be like, hey, do you mind putting my luggage up here? Stuff like that to be more empathic for people that might be struggling. Because if we're pre boarded, we generally need some extra assistance. That's why we pre board, but it's hard to find that available. So if you guys have any tips on that too, or if there's particular airlines, I do have my favorites. I have had great experiences with JetBlue, terrible experiences with some of the others. JetBlue and Southwest, I tend to have better experiences with. But is that the case? What do you guys do for tips? I would love to hear from you. Thank you, Amanda, for watching. I am hoping for better trips here in October and November. I think of like with November, if I can travel with people, might feel a little bit easier on my system. But I don't know about this gut stress connection, and I'm gonna be doing whatever I can with managing all of this. I've tried so much. Even my therapist has given me everything under the sun that she knows to help me when it comes to flying and managing all of these circumstances. But I definitely have some hilarious situations that I try to find some humor with, but it can be stressful, and it's stressful for Mike, who tries to manage and do what he can, but it's hard. When your body doesn't, you don't know what you're going to do on these planes. And sometimes for certain trips, I don't know, I just get really dehydrated, or I feel like a tin man, like my muscles just really harden up after the trip. So I've been trying to work on some of these supplements and detoxification, anything to like help me. Again, I've tried different things like fasting during flights to see if that would help. So I'm not eating anything and then just trying to really hydrate up to the flight. I'm doing whatever I can. So if something's worked for you, please let me know. Yes, it is definitely connected. I have not tried this, and I'm not sure, when do you take it? So this is the hard part for me of figuring this out, because I haven't gotten it dialed in on like when you should take some of these things beforehand, and how this works. Even if stuff would make me a little bit drowsy to calm down my system and I just know where I'm going, I'd be okay as long as I don't pass out and fall asleep. But things seem to do the exact opposite for me sometimes. So and even these days, like for flying days, I don't even drink any caffeine. So I try to avoid everything until I get to my destination, but it is quite a journey and something. Like I said, I was even thinking of flying. I mean, I was even thinking of driving all the way to Pennsylvania to avoid a nonstop flight, um, to get on a plane. It's part of the process. It feels like it's just so much stress. But that's why I wanted to share with you, all of you, just let you guys know that definitely if this is something that's going on with you, you are not alone in this at all, and wanted to open up the conversation. And then of course, like I said, get tips from all of you. So I appreciate tuning in. Keep the conversation going if you have tips. We could definitely use it. I'll be posting and sharing from the flights and stuff like that, and the trip. You're gonna hear a lot because I get to meet some amazing people in Philadelphia who won the social health awards as well. I'm looking forward to connecting with them. And then in November, you're gonna definitely see a lot of videos from our travel trips with More Than Lupus and Looms for Lupus. So I think though it's good that I'm going with a good group of people over there. So I think it'll help. And Stella, I'll definitely need to lean on you a lot for the airport stuff. But I think Looms for Lupus has it dialed in. Like they're going to be doing a lot of traveling, and I know a lot of advocates out there do a lot of traveling. They have a lot of things coming up like Healthy Voices. So So any of you out there have tips for me, I would definitely appreciate it because no good. I'm your girl when it comes to driving. We can get a Sprinter or van and we can drive across the country. I got you. I got you for that. I can drive 13 hours with no problem. Put me on a plane for a couple hours. I am wiped out. So I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't biohacked that system. But thank you everyone for tuning in live. I appreciate all of you. Stay tuned for more information from the Fibromyalgia conference. I know there's so much going on behind the scenes. I'm excited, I'm stressed, I'm nervous. But again, I really, really, we want to bring this Fibromyalgia conference all to you so we can have an amazing time together. Look for that registration link coming soon. Right now, if you go to fibromyalgiaconference.com, that will be, save that URL because that is where you'll be able to register. It'll redirect to the registration page shortly. Again, this is an all virtual conference through the Hopin platform. We are having healthcare providers talk on fibromyalgia, community leaders share and talk. We have some awards we are giving out, and then we're also incorporating some researchers. So I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.